So yeah, Dylan, how do you feel about that part of the movie where they just puppeted Ryan Dunn's corpse across the screen? Like that was weird.
I think it was just too bad that Bam couldn't be there to see it.
Yeah. Rip Bam. Welcome to the podcast, everyone.
So we went and saw a movie.
More particularly, because there are billions of movies out there. To narrow it down a little bit more, in case you clicked on the video and didn't see the thumbnail or the video title and are completely astonished, we went and saw Action Point, which is a movie by, was it directed directly by Johnny Knoxville?
I can find out right now. Hold on. I mean, it should have had this already. Roughly,
if you've been living under a rock, it features Jackass's actor Johnny Knoxville, which it's not even really an actor. It's just
a guy.
It's basically YouTube without the YouTube at that point. Well, our generation knows what Jackass is. There's no...
It's a wonderful show and movies. Some of the best stuff I've ever seen. Because it stays at the root of all good comedy.
Oh yeah.
Which
and
is just...
we'll get to that. Let's give some actor stats, which...
Actor stats... No, the director was Tim Kirkby.
Tim Kirkby.
Yeah. I don't know who that is, but yeah. Surprisingly, not gonna lie, the daughter of the movie, Johnny Knoxville's daughter, she is not like one of the highest billed actors. Like, she's on there, but she's not like second.
Well, I mean, you catapult yourself into a barn and see how much you want to get paid for it.
I expected Johnny Knoxville because, I mean, he's the main character anyway of the movie.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that, though, the daughter, who was, I would have thought was like the deuteragonist of this movie.
Dude.
That's what it's called.
Yeah, but you said deuteragonist, and you're already using a word I don't know before that. You could have rolled with it, and I would have believed you. You could have completely messed it up. You could have butchered it. I would have completely believed you were valid.
And she wasn't, she's not like the second or even third person on the top billed list on IMDb. The obvious one is Johnny Knoxville, who plays the character DC.
Mm-hmm.
After him is, what is it, Bridget Lundy Payne, who plays, what was it? Was it Four Finger Amy or something like that? Then after that is Susan Yeagley, who plays Adult Boogie, the adult version of Johnny Knoxville's daughter. Dana Schick, who is a body double. She doesn't even play a character. She was a body double in the movie, and I don't know who she was a body double of. After that is Chris Pontius, another member of that whole crew. I love his IMDb picture. He's riding a bull.
I mean, these are all just amazing gentlemen.
Then is Johnny... What is this guy? Johnny Pemberton?
Pemberton.
Oh, Johnny Pemberton. Okay, I know who that is. Never mind. I was having a hard time placing who that was. Johnny Pemberton is best known for, like, 21 Jump Street.
Yeah.
And stuff. He's in it. He is the character Ziffel.
Yeah, he was I believe, drug dealer.
I don't know if he dealt drugs, but he was definitely... He ran the... Crap, what was it?
But yes.
He was one of the guys that ran one of the attractions. Then it's Eleanor Worthington Cox, who plays Young Boogie.
Okay.
Dan Bacadol, I guess, who plays Knobloch. Then you have Camellia Wolf, who plays Mia, which is Chris Pontius' love interest. Joshua Hoover, who plays hot-headed I don't know who the character. IMDb cuts it off, and I can't like see who. Well, here we go. Never mind. I fixed it. Don't worry. He's Hot-Headed Pete, which isn't the guy that likes to pick fights.
Yeah. Who was like the John Wick looking dude.
Yeah, another like cheap knockoff.
I love that John Wick has stolen the long hair and bearded look.
Because he just
like originally it was like a Keanu Reeves look, and now we just call it the John Wick. Like that's it. That's it.
Yep.
Anyone that looks like that is the John Wick.
We have, I don't know how to, I apologize if I butchered this name, Siobhan Hodgson, who plays teacher Christine Hollingworth. I don't remember what character that was.
I don't.
We have Connor McVicker, who plays Stiv, who I believe was the security guard.
Yeah.
He looks nothing like the character he portrays in the
I know, he looked like Jesus.
Then you have Aiden Whitehock, who plays Ron. Again, like, I kind of feel bad because watching this entire film, I didn't really get to know any of the characters' names. I just recognized who they were.
Yeah.
Matthew Peterson is Travis, which is Knobloch's son. Leon Klingman is Joel Green, the lawyer.
Okay, I remember the lawyer.
I'm not gonna go through all of these. I'm just gonna pick out ones that
I mean, you went through a lot more than I remember.
Yeah. Michael Everson is Slappy. I do remember that name just because it was Slappy. And then it keeps going, obviously, and it gets into the characters that we don't really care about. Can
we get the actor's name for the brown bear, please?
For the brown bear.
For the alcoholic brown bear?
No, but you can get the name of Stavros Cassipus, who was long-haired teen number 1.
Stavros Cassipus sounds like a dark elf name. He
looks like a character, like, look at him.
Oh, he looks like he'd be a dark elf.
He does. Like, he fits the role. So, if you haven't seen the trailers for Action Point is actually new. It premiered last night. So it's a brand new movie. It's, as Dale said, it's kind of a callback to Jackass, because that kind of stuff isn't really around anymore. That style, I guess, it's no longer seen, which I think they I
mean, I would think it is still around. There's just not really a crew that's the thing that they do. There is no Jackass crew anymore.
No.
Like, when you see stuff like that, it's like in a and dare I say it, a Vine compilation of people getting hurt.
Yeah, but even then, it doesn't seem as...
It's not the charm.
Yeah. Because they're doing it literally to get views. They did it back then because it was funny, and it was fun for them.
They were, like, 24/7 high and drunk.
That's true, too.
Like,
they did do a
they
lot
probably
of drugs.
felt nothing of what they were doing. Like tasing their ball sack, they probably felt none of that.
The fact that Johnny Knoxville, especially, because he was one of the most prominent members, did most of the stupid stunts. I'm amazed that man is still alive.
He is either the most durable man to have ever exist, or he's proof of God, because someone is watching over him.
Yeah, that man, I was honestly surprised, because Action Point, going into it, I figured I would like it simply because I like Johnny Knoxville. I like the fact that, yeah, I am a big fan of that old style comedy of just watching people get hurt. It's funny. I don't know anyone that can look at that and not laugh.
It's I would say some of the most popular and universally accepted forms of humor in human society is, as crude as it is, fart jokes will always make people laugh. And then, like, watching other people get hurt is the other, like, form of comedy that everyone accepts. I believe Melissa McCarthy became super famous because before she lost weight, which I'm happy for, she was widely known as that one fat actress that just constantly got thrown around and just like, haha, look at her,
all of her movies still.
Look at her, the fat lady, she's flopping around, she's getting hurt, ha ha ha, that's funny.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just, you always need a character like that because it's universally the most accepted form of humor.
And honestly, this movie is very crude, like in its jokes. Like it has some of the most basic things that everyone remembers. I feel like isn't as prominent now in comedy. You see, like there's a scene where like when you see at the very beginning of the movie they have that big billboard they're putting up, and then later you see it and someone's drawn a penis going into the guy's mouth. And they constantly, because the character's name is Knobloch, they constantly change his name to sound inappropriate. So like they say Knoblick and stuff. So like that was written on the billboard and stuff. So.
It's not a movie for the cultured masses.
No, and I actually noticed, and I thought first off, it's very brave considering the world we live in now. Especially here in America.
Oh, are you talking about that racist joke at the beginning?
Well, that one, they make multiple jokes similar to that, where it's a constant, like, reminder of this older form of comedy. This comedy that it seems like is no longer really allowed, or it's frowned upon because, oh, it makes fun of people. But that's precisely why people love this kind of comedy, because we all have insecurities. We all have issues, no matter what you look like. And everyone is always, since the dawn of man, pretty much insulted each other and made fun of each other based on what they look like, and that's where a lot of the humor originally came from. So I thought it was actually pretty impressive that they were willing to do that, because Johnny Knoxville, which, very surprised, in this movie, it's tied into Bad Grandpa, which if you haven't seen Bad Grandpa, that's okay. Again, it's not like an overarching story or something. It's just involved in the same universe. The character that Johnny Knoxville plays in this movie is actually the younger version of Bad Grandpa. It's the same character and everything. He's talking to his grandchild about him owning Action Point. I thought that was actually really interesting how they tied that together. What do we say we see it now as? This is the new universe that's going to exist. Every Johnny Knoxville film is going to be connected.
We called it the JCU, the Jackass Cinematic Universe.
So it's all tied together as one.
I wonder who's going to fade away at the end of the next movie. Well, we can already count Ryan Dunn out.
Oh, no. So,
but he's dead. It's not like... Okay, I apologize.
For a while, too.
Yeah.
What, like 10 years now?
I think it's been longer.
Yeah, he's been gone for a while, which honestly was like a big deal for me at the time, because that was...
I think my best friend in school cried when
I teared up a little.
Ryan Dunn, and like I'd never seen Jackass until I got to college, so it was like Ryan Dunn's gone. I'm just like, who?
I see. It was actually kind of emotional for me too, because it's almost like when you go back and you watch those, which I'll have to like bring you. I have all their old DVDs.
Oh, I've seen them all.
Really?
Yeah, like Zach loved Jackass. He like owned all of them, and like we had a marathon night where we just watched all of Jackass. I'm gonna have to go home
and watch those. I loved that show so much, and the fact that
and here's why I think our generation loved Jackass. Yeah, it was movies of people pulling pranks on each other and doing stupid stuff, but that is how you made friends. That's your friendship. It simulates your friend group. You weren't good friends if you didn't prank each other, if you didn't call each other names, if you didn't try to hurt each other. It's not that you hate each other, you do it because you love each other.
Yeah, you know that person, you trust each other so much that you know that like no one's going to actually do something where...
Like, they're gonna hurt you, obviously, yeah, but like they're not intending to kill you. Like they're causing you pain because they love you, which is a very weird statement that's going to be a soundbite later that's going to be used to hurt me as I say that. Anytime I get a career, someone's gonna play that soundbite back.
Sometimes, they hurt you.
They hurt you because they love you. But yeah, that's my viewpoint of Jackass, and now that I've seen Action Point, I would say let's go ahead and talk about the movie as a whole, the linear story. We haven't really explained that.
Surprisingly, I was actually surprised because when I saw it advertised, they didn't, again...
I thought it was just going to be hijinks set in the 70s.
Exactly, because they show the movie and advertise, like, yeah, they give you the setting, that it's in an amusement park that this guy's trying to keep going because it's dangerous. And I thought that was pretty much going to be it. Like, that was going to be the entirety of the story. They didn't, in any of the trailers, show off the fact that it's first connected to Bad Grandpa, and the fact that it actually has a story. Like, there's actually lessons in it. There's moments in it that are actually very emotional. I was surprised. I was like, this is much more than I expected. Which I don't know what I expected, because, I mean, Johnny Knoxville and all of their crews actually been like that for a long time, where they goof off a lot, but because of that, and they've become so close, they actually do have those, like, really emotional moments with each other where it's like, we do this because, you know, we love each other. This is great. Like, this has brought us together. I'm
surprised Steve-O didn't make a surprise appearance.
I'm surprised more members didn't make an appearance. Now, I expected Chris Pontius. Chris Pontius makes sense. Chris Pontius and Johnny Knoxville have done stuff together for, like, ever, even after Jackass was over. So that one I expected. And I do have to agree. It would have been cool if more members had been, like, cameo appearances.
Yeah, like, show up as, like, guests in the park, and they're just like, wow, this is totally unsafe.
Yeah, like
that would be funny.
Steve-O, like, show up and maybe, like,
and, like, a suit and being, like, all responsible and stuff like that. Like, that would be hilarious.
Like, anything like that would have been great. But overall, I think the movie was a great movie. I thought it... Again, I was surprised by the linearness of the story, that it actually had a story, and I did feel connected to the characters as it went by.
So the basic story is DC, back in the 70s, he owned a amusement park called Action Point. It was different from your stereotypical amusement park in the aspect that it was basically a settlement from Mad Max, and there's, like, no rules and no laws. You get hurt, you walk it off. There's no, like, safety mechanics there at the park. Like, you could fall through a slide and it's just, oh, walk it off, we'll duct tape the slide. It was a madhouse, and it was fun because there were no rules. You were allowed to do whatever you wanted, but in modern times, you know, that's frowned upon by parents and by city officials and stuff. And so he was trying to save his park. The ultimate story, I think, is less of DC trying to save his park. It's more of DC trying to redeem himself as a parent, and also, like, growing up alongside his daughter.
Yeah, because his daughter, the character Boogie, which is a horrible name. I imagine it's supposed to be a pet name, but the fact that every single person referred to her as that, not just friends of her dad or anything, everyone called her Boogie, it made me start thinking maybe that really is her name, and I feel sorry for you. But yeah, the movie is more about DC coming closer to Boogie and learning, I guess, what it means to be a better dad. Which, first off, in the film, it even tells you it's not that he didn't want to be a good dad or is a bad dad. He is no longer with his wife. They're divorced as far as I can tell. She's dating someone else. She lives in New York. He lives in, what, LA? Or close to LA? Something like that?
Something like that, yeah.
So they're very far apart. It's a long distance thing. His daughter, I guess, comes around every once in a while. Hasn't been for a while, though, for quite a few years, I guess, because when she shows up, she's 14, and I guess he forgot how old she had become because she shows up and he has, like, a teddy bear that he's gonna give her.
Yeah.
And it's not, and then he realizes, oh crap, she's a lot older than I thought, and hands the bear to some other little girl and then goes and gets her. So the movie focuses more on their relationship, like how they both kind of come to understand each other. Like, DC understands that he has to accept that his daughter's getting older and he needs to be a more important part of her life, whereas she learns that because of her mom leaving and her leaving with her mom at a younger age that he's kind of down on his luck. He's trying to fill that hole that he's had for the last couple years. And like again, that was a deep emotional thing for a movie filled with hijinks and people getting hurt and a bear drinking beer, which was a regular thing, and I found hilarious the idea that this bear is out there chugging beer.
Or downing an entire bottle of Jack like it's nothing.
Oh, and real quick, I actually found some trivia about this. Action Point is based on an actual park.
Oh.
That opened in 1979, and it was considered the most dangerous theme park in all the United States. 6 people were known to have died in incidents at the park.
Oh.
It closed in 96 and then reopened with a new name and a new owner. It changed ownership again and was renamed Action Park in 2014 and in 2015, but then in 2016 it changed back to its former name to disassociate itself from the previous past of people dying and everything. And another bit of trivia is that Johnny Knoxville, which this seems kind of a given, since he did, in every movie he's ever been in, he does all of his own stunts. He has no body doubles. He did all of his stunts, which required him to go to the emergency room multiple times within 14 weeks.
Oh my gosh.
So that man was in and at the end of the movie, during the credit roll, you see some of the behind the camera scenes of like them after certain stunts or just goofing off with each other, and like there is like a scene where Johnny Knoxville gets thrown onto the ground and he just lays there, and then you see them like go over there and they've got like an EKG on him and everything, trying to make sure he's okay before he finally gets up. So I have to applaud that man. He's brave. Mm-hmm. He does things I don't think most people would never ever do in their entire lifetime.
I wouldn't. You couldn't pay me enough, because like I'm afraid I wouldn't get up.
And I think, first off, that shows that man must have no fear of death. I think actually in an interview he had once said that if he were to die doing a stunt or something, he would actually be happy because he died doing what he loves. Which I think, again, I applaud someone like that, because I don't know many actors or really anyone in media today who loves their job so much that even if it risked their life, they would be they're happy, because he seems truly happy at what he does, and you can see that in the entirety of the movie. You can tell when certain hijinks happen that it's not all acting. A lot of those are just them going with whatever was happening, like them trying to grab the porcupine.
Yeah.
Like, he's actually grabbing a porcupine and getting stabbed by its quills, and he's sitting there enjoying himself, laughing, and everyone's there with him, laughing at him, too. I don't know. I really like this movie. I like the nostalgia it gave me, and I liked just I guess, like, the pureness of it. They are all just there having a good time.
Yeah.
It didn't ever feel forced. It didn't ever feel like they were trying to hurry the story along or they were trying to push something on you. It just felt like a good, wholesome, comedic movie.
We don't have a lot to talk about with this podcast. There wasn't really anything I think we felt was bad. We didn't think that this was like a blockbuster. It certainly wasn't like an Infinity War type of thing where it's like masses have to come and watch multiple times and stuff. But it wasn't a bad movie.
It's definitely a movie I could see myself getting later from like buying the DVD and sitting around with my family and just having a good laugh. It seems like one of those good movies that I could rewatch over and over again because it's just good for a good laugh.
Let's go ahead and talk about some of the things we loved about the movie and then some of the things we didn't love about the movie.
Can we first cover like the budget and everything? Just so
let's go ahead and get those out of the way.
As a movie, like how well it did, its budget was estimated at $19 million.
Okay.
Its opening weekend, it had, which I mean, right now it literally just came out, so of course it hasn't quite made its money back, but I'm sure it will. Its opening weekend, which is just this first day, it's already reached $3 million.
Okay.
So I think they're going to be fine. Within a week, I think they'll have their money back easily.
Yeah.
And I think it could only do better. I think more people should go see this movie. I think it was because I don't think movies like this come out enough and aren't prevalent enough, and they don't get enough publicity. I think more and more people need to go see movies like this, because I think it would lighten everyone up.
Yeah.
I think that it would remind us to remember that it's okay to be funny and to have a good time and to just goof off, because sometimes that's the best way to have fun.
Let me go ahead and ask you what your favorite part of the movie was. We're getting into spoiler territory here, but if you've already this far in, you don't care.
My favorite part of the movie would have to be, I don't know, I loved every joke and hijink in it. Every time they did something stupid and reckless, it was hilarious. I guess if we're gonna look at it, I could look at it as different ways. My favorite scene, like something I thought was really cool, is just whenever they're building all the new attractions and trying them out. Probably like one of the best scenes, I think, was whenever Johnny Knoxville is standing there talking, and then they shoot him off the water slide with the fire hose. I thought that was great, like, just because when they show the behind the scene of that, it almost looks like it wasn't necessarily planned. It looks almost like they were going with it. Johnny Knoxville's not really paying attention, and all of a sudden he gets launched off a water slide. It was hilarious.
I think they were intending to spray the fat guy, and they accidentally got Johnny Knoxville.
And I thought that was great, because that was such a real moment, and like it was great. I guess that would be my favorite thing about the movie. Not necessarily a specific scene or anything, but the movie was a feel-good movie in a way. It was comedic. It had a good story, like a good just insider story of just this guy trying to have a good time. He just having a good time with his friends and family, and I just enjoyed it. Like, I can't say that I don't like necessarily anything. I think the only thing I didn't like about the movie would have to be, and honestly, it's not even that the movie did anything bad. It was just a scene in the movie that kind of just, I couldn't handle.
I know what scene you're talking about.
And it's whenever Chris Pontius is in the newsroom.
Yep.
And there's a couple, and they're doing it in the newsroom, and then some man things get on Chris Pontius's hand, and it was just it made me gag. I also
felt that way with the dog scene.
Yeah, that was gross.
Where like they're trying to get the female dog away,
the security dog,
and you just hear a pop. And
I wonder. That made me think. I had a slight moment of, okay, did they put that sound effect in, or did they just really turn up the microphone for that shot? Because it was gross.
It was disgusting.
Which, by the way, mentioning the scene with Chris Pontius in the newsroom, let me tell you, all right, I have a child, and if you're not old enough to understand what procreation is, I don't know, like, but let me tell you, there's never that much. There's never that much. No, that
okay,
like,
you're making me uncomfortable.
I'm just saying.
Okay,
I'm just saying.
I would have to agree with you on all the parts I like. I think my favorite part of the movie was whenever DC goes to the bus station to try to get his daughter, and the lady at the counter is like, you looking for someone with long hair and a pissed off face? He's like, yes, that's exactly her. It's like, yeah, you and every other guy here. It's a bus stop. It's full of daughters running away and their fathers trying to get them. And there's a guy in the background like, Rachel! Yeah. Rachel!
I loved that scene.
I'm just like, oh my gosh.
I loved it because I felt it fit perfectly in the time frame it was trying to portray, the 70s and 80s, because from the stories like my mom has told me and stuff, that's exactly what it was like. That kind of attitude everyone had, like, that was just how it was, and I loved that. It makes me wonder like what life would be like if it was still similar to that. People just going out to have a good time, and it was a great movie. I enjoyed the movie. I think it was worth my time and money. Okay. And it wasn't a very long movie either. It was less than an hour and a half.
So, next question. Theaters or Redbox?
Theaters or Redbox? Okay, so I would say Redbox, but only because, not because the movie is bad. I would say Redbox because then you could take it home with your friends and family and all have a great laugh and all make jokes during the movie and stuff. Because during the like when I'm in the theater, I'm one of the people that when I go to a movie theater, I'm respectful and I'm silent through the film, except for maybe a few comments whenever it's appropriate or it's really, really funny and everyone is laughing, so it's not that big a deal for you to quickly make a comment or something. For the most part, though, I'm quiet, whereas you take that movie home, this is a great movie that you could sit around with your friends and just laugh, be loud, and have a good time having it. It's almost like Jackass. You could have it in the background, and everyone, like, sees it's happening and can still joke and laugh about it, but you don't recognize it as a background movie. You don't recognize it as, oh, we're just gonna put this on to put something on. No, it's people still could see it and laugh at it, and it would still be a great time for everybody.
Yeah. I would say I'd give it a Redbox too. Again, not because it's a bad movie, but because I would agree with you. It's good to have in the background. It's good to, and it's really good for any occasion, really.
Yeah, I don't think there's a moment. There wasn't a moment like this movie wouldn't fit.
Yeah. What would you... All right, so now let's talk about what you would rate the movie. This is our final verdict.
I would give it an 8.
You'd give it an 8?
Because, one, I didn't see any acting that I thought was bad. Mostly because, again, it felt real. It didn't ever feel like necessarily they were acting. It just felt like they were living. This was their life, and they were just doing it. And I enjoyed that, so it was very real, and it felt very normal. Also, again, I have to give props to any and everyone that was in that movie that did stunts, because from what I've read and stuff, nearly everyone in that movie did their own stunts. There was only a handful of people who didn't.
Yeah.
And I applaud that, because that's not a very common thing. Tom Cruise doesn't even do his own stunts in Mission Impossible. Sometimes there have been scenes that he does not do.
I was like, he hung on the side of a plane,
which is impressive. It's impressive, but at no point was he in any real danger. No, he would have been fine. I guarantee you had a parachute.
Well, the god of Scientology would have saved him.
That's true. But I mean, the fact, like, in that scene though, at no point did you see that movie. At no point did I think like, oh no, Tom Cruise might die from this. Whereas Johnny Knoxville getting thrown off a catapult into a barn, that could have killed him.
Yeah.
And at which point the movie probably wouldn't have come out. And like seeing that and knowing like, holy
well, no,
crap.
It probably would have come out, but they probably would have just like left that scene out and just been like, this is Johnny Knoxville's legacy, everyone.
Yeah, that's true. What do you think, Dale?
I think I'd give it a 7. Yeah, maybe. I'm not gonna say it's like a perfect movie.
Well, no.
But it also isn't bad. It's not something that it's not like Breaking In. I wouldn't give it a horrible score, because with Breaking In, it was trying to take itself too seriously. With Action Point, they knew they weren't being serious. Like, there wasn't a serious story to it. There wasn't serious stakes. And they had fun. Yeah. They had a lot of fun. They knew they were having fun, and they made sure you were having fun too.
Yeah. And I think that's completely fair. Like, I would say the only reason it's not a perfect movie, and the reason why I would say it's not is, first off, it is, again, like you said, if we're gonna look at it as a movie as a whole, there is no stakes. Like, there's nothing, but it's a comedy. There's normally not any stakes in a comedy unless, you know, they're eating them.
I was about to make the joke. Oh my god.
So I enjoyed this movie. I could see myself getting it later and watching it again, because I mean, I do that with a lot of Johnny Knoxville movies, like The Ringer and stuff. Yeah. I rewatch that movie a lot. I love that movie. I enjoy Johnny Knoxville as an actor, as a person. I think he's one of those few very honest people left in the world. about his career, about who he is as a person. So I can respect that, and I enjoy the fact that he's open about it. He's okay with that.
Well, I think that's about all the time we have for today.
Yeah, a shorter one, but simply because I don't honestly know what all you could talk about a movie that is literally just people getting hurt.
Yeah, I could. Hold on, I'm yawning.
Damn, it's not even 4 o'clock in the evening. You're yawning. What are you doing with your life?
I've got a lot to do today. After this, I've got a lot to do. I've got to edit. I've got to welcome my brother back to town. I've got to go see my girlfriend. I've got a lot to do. So we're just going to go ahead and cut this podcast short. Thank you for tuning in with us. I'm Dale.
I'm Doan. Go see the movie, and if you don't, that's okay. Just see the movie at some point. I think it's worth it. It's a good, wholesome film. Not because of its rating, but because it just reminds me of the old days. I say that, and I'm only 21, but...
And just know that if you don't go see the movie, Ryan Dunn is judging you from heaven. Bye!